My client hit seven figures. She had the team, the systems, the packed calendar, and from the outside, her business looked like everything that you're supposed to want. And then she walked away from all of it. Not because the business failed, not because she didn't know what she was doing, but because she realized that she built something that was costing her everything that actually matters. What no one tells you about scaling is that you can hit every revenue milestone, check every box, and still be drowning. You can look successful on paper and feel completely trapped in real life. We've been working together for 5 years when this happened, and her story proves something really important. Her hustle was never the secret, the right business model was. Today, I'm walking you through what happened, what we did to give her an exit plan, and how she rebuilt from scratch with her lifestyle as the foundation instead of an afterthought. Before I tell you the full story, I need you to understand something. This client is brilliant. She is one of the smartest, most capable business owners I've ever worked with. We've been working together for 5 years at the point that she walked away, and I watched her grow from maybe 100K a year to well over seven figures. And from the outside, it looked amazing, right? She had a team, she had systems, she had clients who loved her, her launches worked, her programs filled really easily. By every external metric, she was winning. Here's what was happening behind the scenes though. She was exhausted. She was working all the time, more than full time. Her calendar was completely booked, no space in sight. She had no space to think, no room to breathe. And every time we got on a call, I could see the resentment and the exhaustion building. Not resentment towards her client, not even resentment towards the work itself, but resentment towards the business model that she'd built because it required more of her than she had to give, than any reasonable person would have to give. She built her business the way most of us are taught to build, right? Start with the revenue goal, reverse engineer the offers, fill your capacity, and sacrifice what you need to sacrifice in order to deliver. Figure it out later. That's the model. That's what we're taught. Revenue first, lifestyle later. Maybe, except later rarely ever comes, because once you build a business that requires you to be available all the time, work at full capacity, and push through no matter what, it doesn't magically just get easier when you hit the next milestone. Let me tell you about what her seven-figure business actually looked like before she walked away. She was running a high-ticket one-on-one coaching program. It was incredibly successful. She had a wait list. Her clients got amazing results. But here's what it required of her. She was on live coaching calls for over 30 hours a week. She was creating new content constantly. She was managing a team. She was answering Voxers and DMs and client questions at all hours because that's what came with the premium high-touch experience she built her reputation on. And every single piece of that, it required her to be present, available, and performing. From the outside, this looked like a dream. She was making great money. She had demand. People loved to work with her. From the inside, though, she felt really trapped. She couldn't take a vacation without her business grinding to a halt. She couldn't step back without letting people down. And she couldn't say no to new clients because she had all these team members who were depending on her to keep the revenue coming in. This is what I call lifestyle debt. Every time you say yes to something that doesn't fit your real capacity, you're borrowing against your future self. And eventually that debt comes due. And for her, it came due when her mom got sick. When her mom's health took a sudden turn, she had a choice to make. She could get on a flight immediately, or she could finish her commitments for the week and fly out a couple of days later. She thought she had time. This wasn't a selfish decision. She wasn't choosing work because she cared more about money than her mom. She was choosing work because her business model had conditioned her to believe that she couldn't let people down, that she had to show up no matter what, that her clients were depending on her and she owed them her presence. So she finished her call, she delivered what she promised, and then she got on a flight and she didn't make it in time. I'm sharing this with her permission, but anonymously here, because I think it is like one of the most important wake-up calls that any of us can hear and hopefully not have to experience ourselves. After her mom passed away, she came to me and said, I don't know if I can keep doing this. And we had a really honest conversation about what this actually meant. Was it the work itself? No, she still loved what she did. She still believed in the transformation that she created for her clients. She was still really great at it. Was it the business idea? No, the offer worked, at least for her client side of things. People wanted it. It was profitable. So what was the problem? Well, it was the business model and how the offer was delivered. And that's when we started talking about what it would look like to take a step away, catch her breath, and figure out what she actually wanted and take some time to grieve. She couldn't just shut everything down overnight, but she also couldn't keep keep showing up in the way that she had been. So we built what I call a sabbatical plan using the minimalist content system. And here's how it worked. We took all of the content that she'd already created over the past 5 years of us working together, all of the trainings, the frameworks, the coaching call recordings, the workshops, the resources, everything that she had built. And we turned those into automated sequences. We built email nurture sequences, pulling from her best content. We created evergreen sales funnels using webinars she'd already recorded. We turned her offers evergreen and lowered the prices to reflect this. Everything she needed to keep her business running was already there. She didn't need to create anything new. She just needed to leverage what she already built. And here's the key insight I want you to take from this. Your content is an asset. It has value beyond the moment you first publish it. Most business owners treat content like it's disposable. You create a post, it goes out, it gets a few likes, and then it's gone, right? You record a training, deliver it once, and then it sits in a folder somewhere collecting digital dust. But if you treat your content like an asset, you can build systems that generate revenue without requiring you to show up and create something new every single time. That's what we did for her. We turned her content library into a business that could run without her being live and present all the time, and it worked. For 6 months, her business kept generating revenue, not at the same level as when she was fully active, but enough to cover her expenses while she took the space she needed. That's what bought her the breathing room to make a real decision instead of a desperate one. After 7 months, she made her decision. She was not coming back to the old business because she finally had the clarity to see that the business model itself was never going to give her the life she wanted. So she decided to start over, but this time we did it completely differently. This time we started with her lifestyle first. Before we talked about offers, pricing, funnels, or marketing, we started with one question: what are your non-negotiables? And she had just one, really. I never want to owe anyone anything on a specific deadline ever again. This might sound like a small thing, but for her, it was everything, because what she realized was that in that moment is that work had become an obligation. The moment that it had to be delivered on someone else's timeline, no matter what was happening in her life, she knew she was a people pleaser. It turned into resentment, and resentment kills the joy in the work. So we designed her entire business model around that one constraint. Here's what we built. We built a group program where everything is created ahead of time. No live teaching that has to happen on a specific date. No custom one-on-one work that depends on her being available in real time. She records all of the curriculum in batches when she has the energy and the inspiration to do so. It's done, it's complete, it lives in the program portal. Then she shows up live for live sessions twice a month, contained, scheduled, but not requiring extensive prep because the teaching is already handled. And then here's the part she loves. She batches surprise and delight client content for her clients, little bonuses, extra trainings, custom GPTs, creative resources, the stuff that she's genuinely excited to make. And she delivers it all on her timeline when she feels inspired, not because anyone's expecting it by Friday. No deadlines, no owing, no resentment, just her showing up to the work she loves in a container that protects her life. And here's what's happening. This business is growing in a way that feels controllable and sustainable. Same expertise, same ability to create transformation, same person, but a completely different business model, one that was designed around her constraints instead of ignoring them. A little secret here about constraints is that they don't limit success, they create clarity, and clarity is what creates sustainable growth. And guess what? She is not the only one. In the last couple of years, we've seen a pattern emerging. More and more business owners are making the really hard choice to walk away from businesses that look successful on paper but don't feel sustainable in practice. They're choosing to close doors, sunset offers, completely rebuild because they realize that revenue without alignment isn't actually success. And it's not just entire businesses either. We've seen people step away from major platforms that they've spent years building hugely successful brands on. Amy Porterfield stepped away from her podcast after 12 years and over 700 episodes. Jenna Kutcher just did the same thing with her massively successful podcast. There are people who've built empires, right? Who have names everyone in the industry knows, who hit every milestone that we're told to chase, who teach us how to hit those milestones. And here's what I think that tells us. If the most successful people in our industry are stepping back from what they've built, maybe it's time that we question what success actually means, because revenue doesn't mean freedom. A big platform doesn't mean fulfillment, and scale doesn't always mean sustainability. Success is only success if it's supports the life you actually want to live. And there might be seasons of hustle. There might be seasons where the focus is all on the revenue. But as long as those seasons even out, right, and we come back to that lifestyle, what lifestyle is this actually supporting? That's what's really important. If any part of this episode made you feel seen or uncomfortable, or maybe like your business is carrying more lifestyle debt than you realized, I want to give you some questions to work through that. These questions to ask yourself when your business feels heavy or unaligned. I'm going to walk through them slowly. You can pause and journal on them now or come back to them later, but don't skip this step, especially if you're feeling that way. Question 1 is, if someone looked at your business from the outside, what would they think? And how does that compare to how it actually feels to run it? I want you to be honest here, because a lot of us are running businesses that look great on paper but feel heavy in practice. And we think that is just the cost of success. It's not, it's the cost of misalignment. Question 2 is, what are you sacrificing right now to keep your business running? And is that sacrifice one that you're willing to keep making? This isn't about guilt, it's about clarity, because if your business model is requiring you to sacrifice the things that matter most to you, that's not a time management problem, it's a business model problem. Question 3 is, what does my business currently require of me? So time, energy, and availability that I resent. Be specific, write down the actual tasks, the commitments or responsibilities that make the work feel heavy. We might have a major opportunity to outsource these. Question 4 is, if I could redesign my business model with zero guilt, knowing that it would work, or external pressure, what would I change first? Question 5 is, what lifestyle boundaries have I compromised in the name of growth? Think about the things that you used to protect that you've let slip. So time with family, movement, rest, creative hobbies. What did you give up to keep growing? Question 6, what would it look like to build a business that protects the things that matter most to you? Flip the question. Instead of asking what you're willing to sacrifice, ask what you're not willing to compromise on and build from there. Question 7, I love this one. If you only had, let's say, 15 hours a week to work, what would you keep and what would you let go of? This question forces clarity. When capacity is limited, you might have more time than that, but let's limit it to really get clear on those things, because they always take longer than we think they actually do. But when capacity is limited, you have to be really honest about what actually matters and what is just busy work and noise. Question 8 is, what am I afraid will happen if I prioritize my life over my business growth? I want you to name the fear, because often the thing that we're most afraid of isn't actually true. We're just operating from old beliefs about what success requires. And finally, question 9, what does success actually mean to me? This is the most important question, because if you don't know what you're building toward, you'll just keep chasing someone else's definition of success. And that's how you'll end up with a 7-figure business that makes you miserable. Take your time with these. Come back to them when you need to, because clarity comes from honest reflection, not just pushing through heads down mode and hoping things get better. If any of these questions made you realize that your business model needs to change, you're not alone. And you don't have to figure it out by yourself. That's exactly why I created the Lifestyle First Business Model Template. It is a free resource that walks you through the exact process that my client and I use to rebuild her business with her life as the foundation. You'll map out your lifestyle factors first, your real capacity, revenue requirements, your non-negotiables. Then we'll design your positioning, your offer suite, and your revenue plan around those constraints instead of ignoring them and pretending that they don't exist. You can grab the free template in the description. Before we wrap up, I want to leave you with this. My client walking away from her 7-figure business wasn't a failure. It was one of the bravest, smartest decisions she's ever made. She'd say so herself, because she chose herself. She chose her life. She chose to believe that she could build something successful without sacrificing everything that mattered. And she was right. Her new business is proof that her hustle was never the secret. The right business model, having the right business model was. So if your business feels heavy right now, if you're working all the time and wondering when it's going to get easier, if you're hitting goals but still feeling trapped, I need you to hear this. It is not you, it is your business model, and you have permission to redesign it at any point. Don't wait for a crisis to figure that out. Start now.